Great. So I'm going to give you a little bit of the background of the program, and then we're going to take you through some of the main features today. Our presentation is going to be around 30 minutes, and we'll leave time for Q&A. So feel free to ask any questions. And John, just to confirm, are they able to ask questions in the slide panel there?
Yes, absolutely. So there is the Q&A section. Just feel free to drop questions in there, and we will be able to look at them and hopefully have time at the end to answer all of them.
Awesome. So the Dynamic Learning Project is a program that has been sponsored by Google for Education, EdTechTeam, and Digital Promise. We are about 2 years old right now, but let me take a step back and talk to you about the why this was created. So what we knew going into this was that instructional needs are shifting. There's a lot of stats out there about how to prepare our kids for the future careers they might need and the skills they're going to need getting into a new workforce, that we have to really rethink what classroom teaching and learning looks like. For example, there's this stat from the World Economic Forum a few years ago about how the majority of kids entering primary school are going to be going into jobs that don't even exist yet. So we need to think, are the classrooms and the way that we're teaching them really preparing them for this future that we can't even begin to picture? Additionally, computing jobs are the #1 source of new wages in the United States. There's 500,000 openings in every industry across states, and they think that this is going to grow at a rate double the size of other jobs and other careers. Also, the future of assessment and infrastructure is changing. We know that the way we're testing whether or not our kids are completely digesting and understanding the different concepts and skills and strategies that we want them to know is more and more digitally based. We think, Common Core assessments are online. A lot of other standardized assessments are moving digital as well. And so infrastructure is following that. We're seeing a lot of schools and districts purchasing more devices to support this new modality of assessment. However, there's a growing digital use divide in many schools where they're investing in technology because of this need. They say, hey, we know that we need to prepare our students for a future where they're going to need these skills. We know that they're going to need them today to be able to be successful on digital assessments. We know that computer science is a standard we want to bring into our buildings, so let's get tech. But then they get the technology, and teachers aren't always feeling equipped to use them effectively. And so there's becoming this larger and larger divide between that passive technology use of sit and get, plug in front of a computer, versus active use where they're using that higher level thinking, that kind of Bloom's taxonomy of the creation, analysis, comprehension, higher level thinking skills that we want our kids to be engaging in every day. The challenge is shifting teacher practice is hard. So if you look at Rogers' diffusion of innovation theory, this shouldn't be surprising to you. That top 16% of teachers in buildings are usually on board for trying new things. They're going out to conferences, they're bringing back new ideas, and they're innovating in their classrooms every day. However, so they're the people right up front who are like, yeah, let's do this. But then that early and late majority and the laggards, that latter 84%, are a little bit less excited to change their practice. So Jeffrey Moore added a new thought to this concept called Moore's chasm, where he says that the 16% who are leading the way, you can really work towards them, and that latter 84%, let's just leave them there for now and not focus on them, and someday they'll get there. That's okay for tech adoption and business, but when we're thinking about teaching and learning, we don't have time to let 84% of your staff not innovate and not use best practices for students. The kids in their classrooms are missing out, and we're creating an inequity in terms of resources and access to best learning. So our question is, how do we shift all 100% of your staff to move forward to adopt innovative skills so everyone is using the most forward-thinking, future-ready skills to help kids get those future-ready skills they need to be the best learners and the most ready for the future they're going to be living in very shortly. So that was kind of our question. How do we shift teacher practice across every classroom for every student? And the answer for us was coaching. We found that more and more we're seeing research like this by Joyce and Chowers, that coaching is the #1 way to have sustainable impact and transformation in classrooms. This graph shows that 99% of teachers who are coached regularly implement new teaching practices in their classroom, as opposed to people who just heard about it in a PD or did a little bit of practice once or twice. So 2 years ago, we launched the Dynamic Learning Project to think about how can we take a team of leaders in a building and transform practice in every classroom for every student in a sustainable and systemic way. And the really big crux of this is by activating three main leaders in your system: the district administrator, principals within your system, and instructional coaches, to create a transformation team to make sure every single teacher in the buildings that you support are moving forward together at the same rates. So I'm going to turn it over to AT to talk about the coaching model that activates the coaches on this team.
So as you all know, here at Google, we want to make sure that teachers don't just get the devices that they need, but also are able to use them super effectively and really help make sure that students are learning the most they can. And to do that, we want to create a coaching model to help activate instructional technology coaches across the country and make sure that they're able to help teachers tackle any challenge that they have in the classroom or outside the classroom. So to do that, we created a challenge-based coaching model, which is entirely centered on coaches helping teachers identify that challenge that they're facing and find the best strategies for them. And to do that, we have 5 key steps that I'll walk through in depth in a second, but just to quickly go over them. They are to identify the challenge, investigate possible strategies, select one strategy to focus on and the tool, implement that strategy in the classroom, and then lastly, reflect on that collaboratively with the teacher. And the Dynamic Learning Project uses this model, as Jennie mentioned, to really help transform instruction across every classroom for every single student. And over the last couple of years, we've had the chance to pilot this program. So we worked super closely with EdTechTeam and a nonprofit, Digital Promise, to bring this program to 100 schools across the US. And what we've done for these schools is really provide 4 key elements: a research-proven coaching model and curriculum, a dedicated coaching mentor, a custom program app and data collection tool, and then lastly, a summer coaching conference at Google. So we'll go through each of these, but to start off, I want to talk to you a bit about the research-proven coaching model and curriculum. So in thinking about our challenge-based coaching model, again, this really comes down to helping teachers identify that challenge and tackle it with a tech-based strategy. This is a super unique model, the first of its kind, based on Jennie Magiera's book, Courageous Adventures, and her many years of practitioner work helping teachers tackle their problems of practice. And again, it's unique because it not only addresses skill sets, but also addresses mindset. What we've seen is that teachers across the entire school see this model in practice and start to really feel empowered and more confident in using technology because they start to learn ways to help themselves. And that mindset shift has been super impactful to that transformation. So again, I'm thinking about these 5 steps to tackle teachers' challenges and create deep buy-in and sustain pedagogical shifts. Again, this comes down to those 5 key steps. The first, again, is to identify and understand the challenge. This is when you are sitting with your teacher as a coach, going through a question exercise of figuring out their biggest pain points, what's keeping you up at night, what is irking you most about the gaps in your instruction or the gaps in your students' learning. Next, the coach works with that teacher to investigate possible strategies. They're tapping into their cohort of DLP coaches across the country. They're searching on social media, and they're finding what's best for that individual teacher. Next up, they are selecting the best strategy alongside that teacher. So they're going through that long list of their investigated strategies and finding the one that is most personalized for that teacher and those students. And then the bulk of their time is really spent on this 4th step, which is implementing. And during this step, the coach steps into the classroom with the teacher. They're helping to co-teach, to model, to support that teacher as they're implementing that strategy that they've selected, but also meeting with them one-on-one to constantly plan for those lessons where they're going to be implementing strategies, and then also debrief after to make sure they can iterate and improve. And then lastly, coaches always end the coaching model with reflection. It's super important for our coaches to make sure that before teachers move on to something new, they feel comfortable with what they've achieved over the previous 5 steps. So one of the things that we find to be super important really is all come down to helping to tell a lot of these stories alongside ours. And we want to make sure that they can really bubble up what they're learning and what they're doing in the classroom to the rest of their district. On the next slide, just 1 second.
Oh, sorry. I think we got a little bit of a mix-up on the audio here. Sorry. So we're also trying to figure out how we can help our teachers understand, or sorry, our coaches understand how to implement this model. So in addition to telling the stories, we also have this platform that Google is using called, I believe it's called Intellum, where it's allowing the coaches and the administrators to learn about the Dynamic Learning Project model online, and they can go through this course. It's a year-long course. It's graduate accredited, and it gives them the ability to implement the model with fidelity, deeply understand it, and also gain some graduate level credits, which is always great. I remember as both a teacher and an administrator, I'd have to sit through lots and lots of professional learning to get my clock hours to recertify. And it's really nice that we can be able to offer some of that to you so that you can do it from the comfort of your own home or in your pajamas, having a tall glass of water. So the next part we're going to talk about is the dedicated coaching mentor. And for most actually of our participants, they rated this as the most powerful part of the Dynamic Learning Project. This is an individualized program consultancy that helps you utilize all the different tools that the DLP offers in the most effective and impactful way. The DLP Mentor is especially matched with your schools to make sure they can understand what your individual school goals are, what your unique needs are, what the culture and climate of your buildings are. And then they help you individualize the program to your needs. So it's not a one-size-fits-all come in and trying to wrap your practice around the program, but the reverse, that the program is wrapped and customized to your needs. So it doesn't feel like it's another thing on your plate, but that it's solving your goals and making you more effective and efficient in what you're already trying to do. They provide on-call coaching expertise. So for your coaches who are leading the transformation work as part of your DLP team, they help them to rethink the way that they're spending their days to take on that extra role of a change agent and transformative leader so that they're making sure every teacher's practice is shifting across that continuum. We've seen really fun examples of coaches sitting one-on-one with a team of teachers, running into a roadblock, and during a break, jumping into the hallway and literally calling their mentor, kind of like phone a friend style, saying, hey, I'm stuck. They're really not moving forward. I'm trying to get them to do X, Y, Z, and their concerns are A, B, C. Can you help me? And the mentor gives that support right there. They also meet with their coach one-on-one every other week to provide that support and also to help them with ongoing digital skill development. A lot of the schools that participate in the Dynamic Learning Project are activating instructional leaders that don't have prior knowledge of digital tools or pedagogy. Some of the instructional coaches and curriculum coordinators that are leading this change are folks who never taught one-to-one in their classrooms or honestly don't have the time and bandwidth to keep up with the many changes that are happening in the digital world. Even our technology coaches still can't keep up with it. It was my full-time job to keep up with this stuff, and I couldn't do it. So the mentor's job is to be always tuned in, plugged into what's happening, and to provide that on-the-job professional learning for digital skill development so that all of your people who are supporting this transformation process can have the skills they need that are unique to their school, that address the problems that their teachers most are hoping to get help with. They also provide outsourced coach management. So as a district administrator, I really struggled with knowing, what are my coaches doing? Where are they going? Which ones are having effective practice? How do I help others? How do I provide them support and PD? The mentor provides that management and helps make sure that they're using the most effective and efficient use of their time to give you analytics of how many teachers they're working with, how many hours they're spending working with the teachers. And they're that third-party non-district person who's non-evaluative, but also allows that piece to support the coach in a way that doesn't feel threatening, but also provide that information to district and school administrators so they know how that person is most impacting teachers in the best way possible. They also provide leadership support. So our DLP mentors work directly with the other members of the DLP team, the district and school administrators, to understand how can they create systems and environments that most support transformative practice and help even that last 16% of teachers, those laggards, feel comfortable and ready to take risks, and that middle 68% of teachers, the mid and late majority, help them get on board with this work and feel like they have room in their day and their professional mindset to change their practice for the better of all students. So these are just some of the things that the DLP mentor provides, but that concept of having individualized program consultancy we've seen is the most powerful way to make sure that your whole system is shifting and that the program is really, again, wrapping around your school needs and clearing your plate rather than adding to it. In addition to the mentor coming one-on-one to work with your teachers every other week, regional cohorts monthly, they also have site visits in the fall and spring where they spend it one day per instructional leader that's on your team, working with them, walking buildings, sitting in one-on-one meetings, and helping to tailor the program to them. They also provide professional learning for all teachers on your staff in the fall and spring based on a concept that you select as a team. So if your school's really working on MTSS and you'd like to see some differentiated digital differentiation skills to really get those multi-tier support flowing, you can have your coach and your mentor work together to develop a list of topics that your teachers need support with, and the mentor will come and co-deliver them with your coaching team once in the fall and then once again in the spring. So your teachers have PD twice a year to really dive a little bit deeper into these concepts beyond the work the coach and administrators are doing with them. The way that we make sure that your coach is continuing to grow into this leadership role of activating system-wide transformation is the development of these coach success standards. They're unpacked to help you understand how you can support your coach's growth, target professional goals, and ensure that they are consistently meeting the needs of your team and understand where areas they can improve and areas they're excelling in. They also are working to develop professional development plans for themselves with the support of their mentor and administrators. And this version you're seeing that's in a Google Sheet is being updated right now to be a much more beautiful UI that will auto-magically populate through the use of one of our tools that A.T. will talk to you in just a moment. In 1 year across all of our schools, over 13,000 hours of coach support and professional learning hours were delivered to our 100 coaches. And so the mentors that you can see here are highly qualified. They all have higher level degrees, certifications, and awards to really vet them as leaders in transformative work and being ready to support your team and moving forward in the systemic change journey. So not only do we provide this expert program consultant to help you lead the way, but we also have a suite of tools that you all will use in conjunction to do this work. So A.T. is going to talk to you a little bit about that now.
Yeah, here at Google, one of the most exciting things about this project has been that we've been able to create a custom app to help our coaches and our administrators really get the most out of this program, but also help their teachers the best that they can. So the DLP dashboard is a mobile optimized web app for DLP coaches. So on the next slide, you'll see that the app works both on desktop and on mobile. You can use it at any point in the day to better, as you'll see on the next slide, collect notes and really document your actions as a coach, whether you're meeting with teachers one-on-one, jumping into classrooms for visits, or collaboratively reflecting with your teachers. And the reason why we created this dashboard is that there really isn't anything like it that exists currently. And on the next slide, you'll see that across the many tools that exist for educators, we have tons of curriculum tools and learning management tools, but very, very few tools that enable peer observation and coaching. And on top of that, we noticed that many administrators are looking for tools to really help make sure that coaches are effectively doing their coaching work. So to that end, we've added some key features to this product. The first is to record notes and share them with teachers. The next is to upload videos and images, which is super helpful when you're jumping into classrooms to visit. Next up, coaches can track teachers' progress. We have some really great data collection and sharing tools. And then lastly, coaches are able to share data with the principal and the district leads, which we know is super important to making sure leaders know the fidelity of the program. So just to show you a few different examples of what the dashboard looks like, you can easily organize your teacher information in a roster that's organized by their different information that pertains to individual teachers. You can also add new teachers to continue building your cohort of coach teachers throughout the year. Next up, you can record one-on-one meeting notes. So when you're jumping into a meeting, you can easily document everything that's discussed there, add next steps, resources, and references for the teacher to take a look at later on. You can also do the same during classroom visits. And as you'll see in the drop-down menu in this screenshot, we've created some custom tools to make those classroom visits even more powerful, including frequency tools, participation tools, things that you as educators know can help make sure coaches have the best data when they step into the classroom. You also can share this easily with teachers so they can constantly be referencing it to improve their own practice. You also can collect and export this data. And as you'll see in these next couple of slides, there are some visualization options here. So administrators can quickly pop into this dashboard to see anonymized aggregate data that makes sure that allows for the coach and teacher relationship to remain confidential, but also allows the administrators to see school-wide and district-wide trends to help you shift any sort of practices you have around district-wide and school-wide teacher technology use.
The DLP has had a lot of impact over time. There's been a lot of research that has been done by our nonprofit partner, Digital Promise. They wanted to make sure that over the past 2 pilot years that this model does work, that when we go out and bring it into the wider world, we can say, hey, we have confidence this is going to create tangible and systemic change in your districts. And we have data to prove it. And as a former math teacher, I'm just a sucker for data. So this is really exciting to see what's out there. In the first 8 to 16 weeks of working with a Dynamic Learning Proje coach, 80% of the teachers reported their progressive use in impactful technology in their teaching practice. So you can also see that the Dynamic Learning Project coaches have also developed their coaching skills, that coming into it, they felt pretty good about coaching, but as they took the final steps in the school year, they definitely saw that 30-point growth over time. Principals also saw about a 30-point growth as well in their leadership skills throughout the year, seeing more impact in the way they were able to lead transformation and change, both through the model, but also the support of that individualized program consultant, the DLP Mentor. So how do we activate all of you on the DLP team to do this? Well, obviously we have the online curriculum, you have your program consultant, and you have these tools, but you learn all of this by getting to go to Google, which as you may have seen from popular movies and media, is a really fun place to be. Not all of us are as lucky as AT, where we get to show up there every day and get paid to be there. But you guys are welcome to join us at Google this summer for a 2-day kickoff institute that is high energy, hands-on, super fun, where your whole team will be activated to create this change. You'll meet your mentor, meet other folks in your region who are doing this, and get all of the ideas and support to begin launching this program and customizing it again to your individualized district goals and needs. We've had a lot of folks say that this was the most powerful professional learning experience in their career. One 20-year-plus veteran educator said they'd never felt more cared about and loved, and felt it was a better use of their time than by coming to this institute. We also have seen the relationships of individuals from the same districts grow by spending these 2 days together, really working hands-on to collaboratively and creatively solve challenges for their district and their schools. So we really hope to see you guys join the DLP and have fun with us at Google this summer. This will be happening in July, and we'll be at one of 3 locations based on your region, either Mountain View, California, Chicago, Illinois, or New York City, at one of those 3 flagship Google offices. So we hope to welcome you to the DLP family very soon, but we wanted to just end a few minutes early to see if we can answer any questions. So John, I'll turn it over to you to see if you want to throw out any questions that folks have for us.
So right now, I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. If anyone does have anything, please feel free to put it in the Q&A section, and we can get that answered. If you don't have any questions for us right now, there is an email address that you can find us at, and that is actually at the, that is for the Dynamic Learning Project itself. And Jenny, what email can they use to send questions to?
They can go to dlp@edtechteam.com, and if they want to express interest in the program, they can go to our website, which is www.dynamiclearningproject.com, and there is a space for them to express interest on the top right of the website. So I'll put those up on screen for you so that you can see them both here, but I'll also try and do my due diligence as an educator and give a little bit of wait time in case anybody is trying to formulate a question.
So we actually do have a question right now. It looks like Julian Rodriguez is asking, says, we're an American school in Bogota, Colombia. Would we be able to do the program here?
Absolutely. We actually just we're chatting with another American school in Colombia, and so we'd be happy to introduce other schools to the program for international. The one caveat we have is all program materials are in English only at the moment. In our future, we hope to someday translate them into other languages so we can impact teachers more globally. But if your educators are English speaking, then yes, we'd love to bring this program to you.
Okay, perfect. Looks like that's what we have for right now. We've got 2 more minutes if folks did want to jump in there and ask a question. Totally understand. A lot of times questions formulate themselves in a few minutes or few days afterwards. So no worries if you guys don't have anything right now. But all right.
Well, if anyone has any questions, please go to dynamiclearningproject.com. There's way more information about the program there. There's also a place for you to express interest, and someone from our team can reach out to you and have an individualized conversation about the program with your team to follow up.
Perfect. All right, so it looks like what we have ready for today. So thank you everyone for attending. We really appreciate everyone taking time out of their day to come and learn a little bit about the Dynamic Learning Project. We will be hosting another webinar on April 3rd, I believe. So if you wanted to hear more or learn more, please feel free to come back and join us. Also, we have been recording this session, so we will be sending that out to all attendees and registrants. So if you did have to leave early and come back and missed a part, don't worry, we will have this recording sent to you. And with that said, thank you once again and have a great Wednesday.